Howdy, friends and floorheads. This is a game I first flipped through this game, I want to say almost a year and a half ago when I first got my hands on it. And ever since I've been dying to play it. We had a little bit of lull in the regular games that we're playing here on the channel, which means it's a perfect time to pull out an indie game and bring it on the channel. As always, I've gotten some amazing players, but let's talk a little bit about the game. So it's called Something is Wrong with This House, and it's a collaborative RPG in which I am the facilitator or the GM. I also take the role of a family, and they're moving into a brand new house. Now, our players, brand new to them, it's an old house. Our players are playing monsters. Each of them is a different monster, and they have been living in this house or existing in this house for a while now. Before tonight, we as a table, the five of us, made some critical decisions before we got started. The first thing we needed to decide is what type of house this is. And in Something Wrong with This House, they give you a nice list to pick from. You can also pick off of that list. But we as a table decided on an old, isolated country farmhouse. Next, we have a list of items we want to pick from and decide what is wrong with this house. They chose a past gruesome murder. Next, they needed to decide on two key features for this house. The two key features they chose were secret crawl spaces and wall stains that won't come off. Of course, they also had to pick their monsters, and there's a large selection, especially if you get the second book, which is called Ghost Hunt, which is the same system but with a lot of new monsters. Now, there's 5 phases in this game. We're going to start with the Dusk phase. Each phase gives each of these monsters an opportunity to scare or frighten one of the family members. The family members have a certain level of resistance. If they can eat up that resistance by frightening them over the 5 phases and get all of the family members fully scared by reducing the resistance to 0, our monsters will win. If by the time we get to dawn, which is the 5th phase, if we still have one family member that has a little bit of resistance left, then all of my monsters are banished and the family will win and they will live happily ever after inside of this beautiful old farmhouse. Now, before we get to our players and before we get started, I think it's important for us to set the scene. As the emptied moving van drives away, from the farmhouse down the frostbitten dirt road, our family's Honda Accord pulls up, and they each step out of the car. It's an old farmhouse, isolated from civilization and silhouetted against the stark, pale winter sky. Snow dusts the ground, blanketing the surrounding fields of dead corn and the decaying barn that leans ominously in the distance. The house's wooden boards and stone foundation, worn with time, groan under the weight of unseen memories. In his late 40s, the father, Thomas, stands tall with a forced confidence. He knows that leaving the city and moving here is precisely what his kids and his marriage need. He's imagining the potential, though the shadows beneath his eyes hint at the doubt he won't acknowledge. His wife, Janet, she helps get the kids out of the car. Her face is heavy. She feels a weight of resentment over leaving the city. She knows this move won't change their loveless marriage, but it might improve things for the children. She wraps her coat tight around her, as if to shield herself from the cold that has already begun to seep into her bones. Now, Billy, the all-star straight-A teenage son, he bolts off. His footsteps crunch on the icy ground as he makes a beeline for the barn. He's unaware of the rot and evidence that will welcome him when he gets there. At just 6 years old, pig-tailed Sally clutches her favorite stuffed bear as she skips through the snow, her laughter echoing eerily in the stillness. Her innocence is a bright spark in a place that seems to have forgotten warmth and joy. Now, the old well behind the house, it stands silent, foreboding, as if waiting for something or someone. Now, Billy's excitement is momentarily dampened as he looks around what is left of this decaying barn. He finds rusted tools hanging like forgotten relics, and the shadows shift just out of sight and they hide a long-dried, blood-stained, broken shovel in the corner. Thomas pries open the door of the farmhouse, revealing a dim interior where the air is thick and the dust and faint scent of decay fills his nostrils. Janet trails behind him with unease as she runs her fingers over the cold, worn banister. You see, she's carrying the Chinese takeout she plans on serving for dinner. She's too tired to unpack the kitchen to cook. Janet is tired of a lot of things. When Sally enters the house, her giggles break the silence as she runs from room to room, her small feet leaving a trail of tiny footprints on the dusty floors. Boxes are stacked in the center of every room, unpacked as evidence that this family has yet to make this their home. But the stained walls, the very bones of this house, seem to whisper secrets to those who would listen. Echoes reach the hidden crawl spaces, full of cobwebs and more. Some rooms remember the past horrors in this house. The windows are witnesses to the past violence. The shadows hide the entities that came after the horror to fill the spaces and remember the past. The daylight fades, and with it, the fragile sense of normalcy that the Thorne family hopes they'll find here. The farmhouse, bathed in an orange glow of a dying day, exhales a breath, one it's held for years. The last rays of sunlight begin to fade, and the shadows grow long on this farm. The Thorne family begins to open boxes, oblivious to the unseen eyes. They are not moving into an empty house. Things were here since the gruesome murders invited them in. The old inhabitants will soon introduce themselves as dusk falls over the farm. You see, something is wrong with this house. Attention, brave viewers. This video features adults immersed in a spine-chilling horror RPG experience. The content likely includes supernatural elements, horror-related events, and potentially scenes of violence. Viewer discretion is advised. Enjoy. So we've set the scene. I think I want to start with my creature in the walls. So creature, based on what you've sensed or seen so far, is there a particular family member that's going to get your initial attention?
I think that the children are particularly interesting to me. I'm smaller myself. I'm maybe even a little bit intimidated by the large humans, but the small ones, no. I got my many eyes set on them.
So I'm going to set the scene. Little Sally has been oblivious to the peeled wallpaper, the shaky banister as she's been running up and down the steps, how some of the bedroom doors aren't hung perfectly, so they scratch the floor as they're closed and opened. Thomas is going to have to look at that later. I'm going to put her in the room that she has claimed. It's going to be the back room, the room that looks out over the old well and looks out over the cornfield. And as she walks into that room, for the first time, creature, she feels a little unease. So, can you paint the scene with me? What is something that maybe only she would notice in this room that makes her pause for a second?
Maybe she would notice that the scratches on the door um, maybe extend to other places of the room. There are scratches maybe that disappear behind the floorboard or the trim on the wall, actually, where they shouldn't continue, but they do continue through to the wall and just sees those.
So Sally, she's kind of walking through. She's not really giggling anymore. She's kind of quiet. She's holding Mr. Brian, her bear, real close. And she's looking around. Now, of course, she goes to flick the light in the room, and the overhead light doesn't turn on. But there's just enough light coming in from the setting sun that it kind of casts the whole room in orange. What's next?
I think she's going to walk further into the room, just look around, maybe think for a moment where she's going to put her toy chest, where the bed might go. Doesn't think maybe anything is necessarily wrong until she hears a sound coming from the wall.
What, what, what's that? It's okay, Mr. Brian. It's okay. It's okay. She's starting to curiously walk towards it. Creature walking towards that sound, wondering if maybe her brother, maybe stupid Billy, is making noises on the other side.
She hears little scritchy scratch, maybe like mice, just something that catches her interest at first, and she just gets closer, wants to like, what's that? Just maybe there's some critters behind. And as she puts her ear against the wall, she notices a very strong smell of decay. And at the same time, she hears like in a gurgling voice, like a rough, raspy, gurgling voice. Play with me.
So her ears are to the wall. Let's go ahead and engage this game, Z. So my creature in the wall is trying to scare poor little Sally here. Now, by default, you're going to roll 3d6. We're going to take the highest. On a 1 or a 2, she's going to rationalize this away. She's not going to hear it that well. She's going to just kind of shrug this off. If your highest die is a 3 or a 4, you are going to scare her and get to roll the fear die. But I'm going to give you a little bit of a penalty. Things aren't going to go quite as well as the creature might wish. But on a 5 or 6, we're just going to roll that fear die and see how much we scare poor little Sally. So can you give me a 3d6, keep the highest?
Yes.
That is a good start.
Yes.
I want to see how much you have scared her. Roll me 1d6. That's our fear die. And that's how much resistance. We're taking 2 resistance off Sally. So for those of you watching in the top right corner, you can see I'm keeping track of our resistance. That is 2 notches on Sally. She's only got 8 left. I don't feel like playing.
Play with me. And then I skitter away.
Let's cut to the Spectre. Spectre, I think one of the things that you enjoy about this farmhouse is how quiet it's been. After everything that the previous you has gone through, I feel like peace is the only thing that sates your anger. Silence is the only thing that keeps you under control. So as this family invades your space, which family member are you focused on?
I want to focus on Janet, the mother.
Okay.
More so her I'm drawn to her coldness in her heart. I would like to warm that up a bit.
All right. So let's cut to the kitchen. I want you to imagine we've got old farm style countertops, a huge farm sink, There's boxes stacked everywhere. There's a kitchen table, a small dinette table that's been brought in by the movers. The chairs are upside down. There's a cloth that's over it right now. Um, she's unpacking and looking for plates. She's got the little paper boxes full of Chinese takeout, and she's just trying to get organized. I think that for her, I've got to make this work. I didn't want to move here. I didn't want to do this, but this is what Thomas has us doing, so that's what we're going to do. So there's a certain intentionality as she's opening up boxes and trying to find the plates to put the Chinese on. What happens?
There's a wave of a cold wind. She still has her coat on, and she's like, it's like unusually cold, and it's like she's in the kitchen, so it's like, where's this wind coming from? Where's this draft coming from?
Yeah, she's gonna walk over and check the doors. So there's a door that leads to the back yard, and she goes over and she notices it's still locked, and she kind of runs her hand along the crease of the door to see maybe is there a draft coming in from outside. And this is definitely a drafty house, but that's not what's happening. And she's just kind of pulling her coat a little bit closer. She's feeling your chill.
And she smells a smell of rotten meat and rusted metal, like out of nowhere after the draft comes through. That's what the draft brings with it.
And she's got one of the Chinese takeout boxes in her hand. It's some lo mein, and she opens it up, and that's not it. But I definitely smell it.
And after that, she probably just looks around, tries to find where this smell is coming from. And if the draft is not coming from the door, where in the house is it coming from?
Yeah, as she wanders around, she can't place the smell. In fact, there's certain parts of the kitchen where she doesn't pick it up.
Okay. I think I can try to scare her when she looks into like a butler's pantry or cabinet. It's just a quick, she sees my face with an extended maul and me pointing at her.
So she opens up the pantry, and it's the empty shelves, cobwebs. I wish Thomas had cleaners come in, because it means now I'm going to have to do this, of course. And suddenly your face starts to materialize in front of her. All right, same thing, Spectre. I need a 3d6. 3 is our highest, so let's go ahead and do the fear die. Let's see how much we scare her. Very nice. Janet's scared 3. Before I act this out, though, I need to give you a setback. Let's go with a minor setback.
Okay.
She opens up the pantry door. She starts to see a face materialize. And at first, she's not too sure until your jaw extends an unnatural length. And she throws the door shut. She goes, "What?" And she opens it up, and it's empty. She's like, "What the hell was that?" I'm going to put you at a -1 on your next result roll. So whatever your highest die on your next scare is a -1. What is it that happened, do you think, Spectre, that's going to cause you to be hesitant the next time you scare somebody?
I think what I would want to do is be more of a presence and not just a jump scare.
Excellent. All right. I don't like saying these words out loud, but I got to go to my demon. So, demon, how much of a understanding do you have of your fellow residents? Do you have an awareness of the specter, the creature in the walls, and the haunted town?
I'm sorry. I think I have some awareness, but I try to keep it. I'm more of a background guy. So I'm aware of them, but I do not particularly interact with them.
So as you heard this family invading a space that you have called home since the violence that called you here, where do you normally reside? Where does the demon spend its time?
I think in the barn.
So I'm wondering if we should start with Billy. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So let's cut to Billy in the barn. Now, this barn, I'm sure, in the early 20th century was a functional barn, but the last 100 some odd years now have just decayed this barn into a lean. The whole barn itself just has a lean to it that maybe if we have one more harsh winter with some heavy winds, it could topple it down, knock it right into the silo that's long been abandoned, full of rotten corn. Billy is a smart kid. He's a good kid. He's about 15. And he's been excited about this. This is a place where he can have all kinds of adventures. I think that's what Billy's doing is he ran to the barn to maybe he can build like a fort here that he can, use to kind of get by himself and play with, maybe read his comic books, get away from his stupid little sister. But when he got in the barn, even Billy, I think, recognized that, hey, this is something's not right. So as he's kind of walking around this barn, Demon, what are you doing?
Of course, I'm lurking in the shadows. I'm not showing myself to him exactly, but he gets the feeling that I'm there. He feels like he's been being watched by someone.
Hey, what? Who's here? Sally, did you come to the barn? What are you doing? This isn't funny.
I do not respond, but I would assume that he's looking for me in the shadows.
I don't know how brave he is, Demon. I think that just the lack of light and everything is making him. I think what he's doing is kind of backing up to the loose sideboard that he used to get in here. He's actually, I think, retreating a bit.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so he feels resistance as he's backing up, and he's backing up into something that is soft, and but on the other hand, it's firm, like it's standing right there. And if when he turns around, he sees that there is a scarecrow right in the barn doors, but it's only there for like a couple of seconds.
Perfect. All right, give me 3d6. Let's see how we do with Billy. Oh, full scare. It's gonna be a short game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Billy is 6 of 15 into this.
That was just my heat.
Oh, that's right. That's just. Oh, shoot. Yeah. Okay, I got all excited there. Yes, thank you. Fear dice 4. All right. Thank you. All right. Still, 4 is a good fear, right? That's more than half of what your fear die could be. He falls back. He falls back on his back, and he falls into kind of this rotting, smelling hay, and pushes away. And what? No. And you can tell by the look on his face, Demon, that he's trying to rationalize this. He's trying to piece this together. Like a scarecrow, sure, that's possible, but maybe it's just the bales of hay. I'm reading way too many of the scary comic books. And he stands up and dusts himself off. He feels stupid, and he's really, really happy that his father didn't see him react this way. Where has the haunted doll been during all of this?
Well, I think that she's been watching. She's got a new family to play with. She's had a family before, and she had a lot of fun. So she's ready to play some more.
Who do you think who's going to find the haunted doll first, do you think?
Oh, I think she's going to introduce herself to Thomas.
Let's have Thomas in what he's declared to be his study. I think maybe it was one of the extra bedrooms on the bottom floor, but he's made it very clear that part of the reason we need to move out to this country, Janet, is because I can't live in that townhouse anymore in the city. There's not enough room. I need to have all of my work stuff around, and Janet, I need to have my own space. So a lot of boxes have been put here into the study. There's a lot of empty bookshelves. He's starting to open up some of the boxes, and Thomas is putting books slowly up on the shelf, and we can see that he is or wants to be a lawyer, because it's law books he seems to be putting up on the shelf, and he's being very particular about arranging them. He'll put them there, and then he'll take a book and put it on the shelf below it. He stands back and looks at it. You get a look on his face like, if I can get this room perfect, I can get the rest of this house perfect. The kids will be happier, and I can reconnect with Janet, and I can save all of this. Where does he see you?
I think after he's been looking at his books, he turns away from the bookshelf, and she's sitting there in the middle of the room.
Jesus. I told the old woman I bought this from, he's saying this out loud. I told the old woman I bought this from I wanted all of her shit out of this house. And he walks over with intentionality, and you can tell his intent is to reach down and pick you up and maybe even, throw you in a box somewhere, but he hesitates right before he touches you.
Think he'll hear, almost in a voice that he thinks maybe his own subconscious, Sally would love to play with me.
3d6.
Okay. If I can remember how to do this. There we go.
So do a /R and then space 3d6 KH.
There
You
we
got
go.
it right. Yeah, there we
There
go.
we go.
Beautiful. All right, 4. So you definitely going to get your fear die. So let's go and figure out how much we scare Thomas with. So just give me a /R 1d6. That's 4 for Thomas. He stumbles back. He was going to pick you up, but he doesn't. He stops himself, and it's very important that he stays composed. He cannot be in a scenario where he is not the pillar in this house. He says this out loud. I don't think Sally can see this thing. She'll fall in love with it, and Jesus, it's creepy. I'm going to give you a setback, though, because you rolled a 4. So your setback is going to be... I'm going to give you a major setback. I'm going to give you -1 die the next time you frighten somebody. So instead of 3d6, you're going to roll 2d6 to take the highest. But I need to know, from the haunted doll's perspective, what do you think is going to make her less scary next time? Oh, we forgot your special rule. The first time you frighten somebody, you get an extra die. So give me an extra d6 and see if you roll higher than that 4.
Okay.
This is the first time you frightened Thomas. There it is. No setback for you. You got a full scare. So your highest would have been 4d6. It would have been that 6. So we do have the scare on that.
Yay.
All of our workers have had a chance. We're going to move to phase 2. We're going to move from dusk to nightfall. The sun has now retreated fully. We see Janet has cleared off this dinette, gotten the 4 chairs off of it, pulled the sheet away, and has found plates. They don't match, but that's all right. And she's putting everybody's favorite takeout in front of them. She's got forks, some spoons. She has to make sure Thomas's miso soup isn't as hot as he's gonna I need to heat this up. So she's gonna go, and you see her finding a pot. She's gonna heat up Thomas's soup so that he doesn't create a scene in front of the children. Thomas is collected himself. He's set the haunted doll into one of the boxes, so it's out of his eyesight. Sally's left her room. She's not skipping and giggling anymore. She's just kind of wandering around. In fact, she's kind of wondering where Billy is. Normally, Sally doesn't want to find Billy, but after hearing that, maybe she'd feel better if she did. And then as night falls, we see Billy leaving the barn. And he's not walking away from it with his back to the barn. I don't think Billy feels good about having his back to the barn, so he's kind of almost walking sideways, making sure he's watching where he's going, but also keeping an eye on the barn as he goes away. Let's go to our Spectre. Last we saw you made a bit of a jump scare with Janet in the kitchen. Do you keep the same target Spectre, or do you have an interest in somebody else?
I have an interest in Billy now.
Okay.
As he's walking back from the barn, as he looks back at the barn, I want to appear right in front of him so that he like walks through me.
Okay, so let's set that scene. We've got that dust of snow that crackles as he's walking, and he's not walking back the same way he walked there. There's enough moonlight that the snow isn't white anymore. It's kind of just mud and blue reflecting off of the moon, and oddly the moon is almost rising above the back of the barn. So the barn itself is backlit. He's far enough away from the barn now, though, that he feels like he can turn his back to it. This is a moment of a 15-year-old regaining himself, trying to be the man his dad keeps telling him he needs to be. So he turns Spectre, and with authority, he plans on marching back to the house when he walks through you. Give me 3d6.
Okay.
That's a clean scare. Give me your fear die.
Okay.
Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, walk me through this, Spectre. He knows he knows he's walked through something. What does he feel when he walks through you?
It is a chill that goes to the core of his bone. Like he's never felt cold like this before. And it's like makes the hair on the back of his neck stand up, and he just really just crumples after he walks through me. He just crumples to the ground. And I just like float next to him, and I just whisper in the most raspiest voice I can, "Leave."
And he's not sure because a wind starts to blow, and it stirs up some of the snow, and it mixes with you, so it almost makes it feel like maybe that was just Dad. Dad. Demon. Last we saw you were in the barn, and you successfully kind of put a little bit of fear into Billy. You can now hear him yelling outside of the barn, But just because in one moment you're in the barn, we know the demon can be anywhere. So where are we going to find the demon now?
I think I'm going after Janet.
Let's cut back to the kitchen then.
But actually, I will be going after Thomas because I want to possess Janet.
Ah, perfect. So can you very quickly read your special power?
I should have it somewhere, but the gist of
Yeah.
it is that I can use another family member to possess them and to gain +2 dice to my roll.
Yeah, so your ability is called possession. Your wicked will takes hold of a malleable mind. And I think at this point, Janet's mind is definitely malleable. Once a night, so you only get to do this once, demon, you can force a family member to aid you. This is 2 times as effective as other aids. Add 2d6 to your pool. So as she is standing in front of the stove, it's a gas stove, and she's poured Thomas's miso soup in there, and she's it was an electric stove back at the condo in the city, and she's realizing like I don't have matches, like there's no pilot light, so she's starting to search through the drawers to look for maybe they left matchsticks or something that she can light this stove with. What happens?
I am there, sitting in the corner of the room, just like on all fours. I'm just a silhouette at this point. She, if she looks at me, she wouldn't like discern any details about my presence, but I'm sitting there and I say, "Hello, Janet."
Her eyes go wide. This is now the second time something like this has happened. She's the matchbook she found. She drops the matchbook. Walk me through the possession. You are going to possess her. What happens? What's that look like?
So I feel like the possession starts right now. So I'm already influencing her mind, but I will try to talk her into doing things that I need her to do. So I say, "Don't worry, I'm a friend. We are all friends here."
And demon, there's a part of her mind that is now yours. And there's a part of her mind that says, of course. Of course. How can I help? But deep somewhere else is the rest of Janet. And she feels this happening. She's watching this. That piece is still her, but she has no control at all. You control Janet. So what happens?
Oh, and I feel her resentment towards Thomas. I feel her anger that she needed to leave the city. So I say, "You never wanted to leave, right? And you know this will never work. There's only one way for you to be truly free."
I think she goes back to one of the boxes she's already gone through, demon. And she didn't need to prep anything. So the box that had all the knives wrapped up, she opened it and realized that they were there, but just left them there. She's walking over there. It makes perfect sense. That asshole. And she reaches into the box and she pulls out a cleaver. Now, is she going to go to Thomas, or is Thomas coming in the kitchen?
As she's reaching for the knife, she can feel my hand guiding her. And I think Thomas is going to come into the kitchen.
So I think she
can lure
turns.
him.
Yeah, she turns to the door in the kitchen that leads to the rest of the house. And I mean, it's her voice, but the cadence is wrong. She calls out, "Thomas, your soup is ready." She didn't need to call him because he comes right in the window and he goes, Are you doing takeout on our first night, Janet? This is our first night in this new house. And you don't even think that maybe we should have a home-cooked meal? I'm going to need your help here. I can't do this by myself.
You'll never be truly free with him around. Do what you must.
So she starts walking towards him. And Janet, what? It's fine. It's fine. She keeps walking towards him. Janet, what are you doing? She's raising the cleaver. I need 3d6, demon. Actually, no.
5d6 actually.
You get 5d6.
Let's go.
Let's do /R 5d6. Oh, surprise! You rolled a 6. In fact, you rolled a double 6. And that is something special. So give me just 1 second here. On a double 6, you succeed. And the result of your fear die is doubled. So roll me on a double 6, roll me a fear die. We're going to times that by 2. Poor Thomas. That's going to be 8 on Thomas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Janet, and he grabs her arm, but she's stronger. She's stronger than, and it's pulling towards him. And at the last second, you leave. And as soon as you leave, he almost senses it, demon. He almost can feel you leave because her body gets loose. All the tension that was in her arm trying to force that cleaver into Thomas's forehead stops, and the cleaver falls from her hand. And Janet goes, oh my God. Oh, Thomas, I'm so sorry. What the hell, Janet? This isn't the first time he's done this. He forcefully pushes her out of his way, and she slams up against this. And this fear is now twice, because not only was he scared by, like, I think my wife just tried to kill me, but this is also brought up a part of Thomas that he hates. He doesn't want to be this person. He rationalizes that the kids make him this way, and that Janet pushes him here, but we know that's not true. We know he's just following the same pattern that he was raised with. So he is frightened by his own father almost possessing him in that moment.
Nice.
When we last saw our haunted doll, our friend Thomas had put you in a box. But as we know, our haunted doll can be wherever she wants.
Yes.
So do we have a new target, haunted doll?
We do have a new target. I think that she wants to play with Billy.
Where do we want to encounter Billy? So when we left him, he was in the middle of the snow, calling out for his father. Where do you want to find Billy? Where should we put him?
We can keep him right there, cut back to him in the snow.
He's, before he tried to recompose himself in the barn, right? Now he's calling out like a little child, like Sally's age. He's calling out for his father, and he stops himself after a few times. I hope Dad didn't hear me. Wipes his tears, and he's trying to be brave, and he's trying to kind of stand up and just find the power inside of him to put things together.
He's going to hear some giggling and what sounds like little footsteps running around, almost as if it was children playing.
And it's so dark, and the moonlight coming off of rising above the barn is creating this shifting light, and it's getting bounced off by the dusting of snow. So and the snow is wisping, right? So it's very sensory, very confusing for Bill. And God damn it, Sally, this isn't funny. Look, you shouldn't even be outside. It's after dark. Isn't this past your bedtime?
Come and play with me.
So that sound of your voice, he's convincing himself it's Sally. So what are we going to do so he is sure that he's not out here with Sally?
He's going to hear a very eerie rendition of Ring Around the Rosie.
Right. This is your first time scaring Billy. So let's 4d6, keep the highest. Ooh, I got chills.
46.
That's good.
6 eludes me.
That's all right. That's all right. A scare is a scare, right? And let's see. Remind me. No, we were going to do a setback with you, but we didn't have to because we forgot about your extra dice. You had no setback, so you have a clean fear roll here, and then I will be giving you a setback this time.
Fair.
So 1d6, a 3 on poor Billy. 1, 2, 3. Poor Billy has 2 resistance left. We're only in the second phase. He hears this ring around the rosy, and I'm getting a sense, Dal, that it's omnipresent, right? It's bidirectional. It's coming from
Everywhere. And it's in a minor key.
Well, and he thinks, he rationalizes immediately it must be the barn again. So he's doesn't have it in him to stand up. So he's now just scrambling and crawling, and mud is now soaking his shirt and his jeans, and he's crawling towards the house, and I've got to get there. I've got to get inside. But he also knows that if his mother sees the conditions his clothes are in right now, that he has even that to be afraid of. And he's scrambling. A lot's happened outside. A lot's happened in this kitchen. We saw a little bit happen in the study and in what Sally has claimed as her room. What I'm interested in is the spaces in between right now, though. So where's my creature?
So the creature has been paying very close, very, very close attention to what's been happening. And I think the creature is going to leave Thomas, the large man, to some of the entities that it knows about that are maybe a little bit more capable of dealing with that. But something in the thing in the walls past reminds it, the mother reminds it of something, and it's like drawn to it. And I'm going to say that it's crawling into the kitchen, into the ceiling of the kitchen, where maybe the mother is, I don't know if she's still heating up the soup.
So she just got pushed against the counter, and it hurt her. It bruised her back. She knows it's going to be another set of bruises, and against the small of her back where she hit that counter, and the only way she knows how to handle Thomas when he does this is to be away from him, and that is a safety mechanism for her, one she is unfortunately very familiar with. So she's going to leave the kitchen, creature. So as you crawl into the kitchen, you sense her anger, her fear, her sadness, and she's going to leave the kitchen, and she's going to go to the very small bathroom on the first floor that's just adjacent to the stairs that lead up to the second floor. She's going to go in there, and she's flicking the light, and she has to flick it a few times to get it to come on, and it makes kind of that electrical crackle sound. Yeah. Once it finally comes on, and she sees her face, and we can see that it's towards the end of the day, so a lot of her makeup is worn off, but you can still see the trail that the makeup left from the tears. She's also looking at herself in the mirror, and I think for half a second feels the demon presence, even though the demon's nowhere near her now. So what's going to happen, creature? As she's staring at the mirror and she turns the sink on, she's going to wash her face.
I think when she washes her face and looks into the mirror, maybe dries her face off a little bit and then looks, she doesn't see anything, but she just has this like eerie feeling of being watched from behind the mirror. Like something is watching her, and maybe she hears some scrabbling, and she just looks to the side of the mirror, and I push like centipedes and other little creepy crawlies out like the gap there's underneath the mirror, and they come crawling out from underneath the mirror over the sink. A little present from me for her to cheer her up. And I just push all of these insects, some of them dead, but most of them like still wriggling and just thrashing around. They just like come falling out in like greater and greater numbers.
Let's do 3d6. That's a good scare.
All right, let me, what was it? 3d6 and
Yep,
keep
so-
the highest.
Yeah.
It's a 6.
You make it look easy, creature. You make it look easy. What's my fear roll?
Let's see.
Yeah, 1d6.
It's a
Oh,
4.
Janet's got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have got Janet halfway there. She immediately withdraws. She sees these bugs, and again, between that thing that was in the corner and that, like, something's not right. She's gonna have to talk to her doctor, because obviously my medications are off here. But this is not an apparition. This is not a vision. This is real. These are insects that are just pouring out behind this mirror. And she runs into the bathroom door, forgetting that she had closed it. She thought and she throws it open. She goes, Thomas, this place is full, just full of bugs. Oh my God. And she kind of falls up against the wall. Her knees are weak. She's turning back, and she's seeing the bugs kind of pouring off of the sink and making this tacky noise as they hit the wood floor. And she slams the bathroom door shut and just stares at it. We're going to take a 10-minute break. We'll be back for the next 3 phases. So we cut to phase 3. Phase 3 is midnight. After this, we have the Devil's Hour from 3 to 4 a.m., and then we have dawn. So we've got three phases left for my family to try to survive here. The only thing working in my favor ish is I have not used any of their abilities yet. I think I need to start thinking about that real soon. But let's do a montage from before dinner, which was probably around 9 o'clock. And I think we need to put everybody in bed. Dinner is a quiet affair. Thomas is the first one. He sits and he eats. He makes a comment about the temperature of the soup. Janet doesn't even acknowledge him. She eats. Sally is quieter than she usually is. Usually this is interrogation hour for Sally, where she's going to ask every question and then follow it with a, but why? But why? But she's real quiet. And Janet doesn't say anything, but she notices Billy has changed his clothes by the time he makes it into the kitchen. And the four of them don't talk. They just eat. In his heart, Billy's still a good kid. So even though he's kind of freaked out a little bit, he still helps Mom clear the table like he always does. And I think he even goes as far without being asked of helping with the dishes, because I don't think he's real interested in not being in a room without either Mom or Dad right now. He's regressing a little bit. Now, the game plan was, to have time to set up the beds and everything, but time's escaped them a little bit. So I'm going to have Sally is in her room. She had to be coaxed and comforted by Thomas, and they've set up a comforter that she's laying on and folded over her with a pillow. Billy says, I don't want to sleep upstairs. I'm just going to sleep on the couch. So Billy has grabbed a sheet and a pillow, and he's kind of taken the sheet off the couch that the movers put in the living room. He set himself up there. Janet still isn't talking. She gets herself ready for bed. She gets into bed. She takes a lot longer to get ready for bed than Thomas. She showers in the evening. Thomas showers in the mornings. So Thomas is already snoring by the time she finishes up, and she's gotten very good at sliding into her side of the bed without disturbing him. So it's midnight. I want to start with my creature in the walls. Creature, what are we going to do?
So I think Creature hasn't had an opportunity to actually play with Sally. It's just been a little hectic and there was a little bit of commotion. So I think as Sally is laying in bed, trying to sleep, maybe cuddling with her teddy bear, she maybe has a little, like one of those little night lights, and it's maybe a teddy bear as well, like an orange glowing one. And she tries to sleep and she just hears like skittering on the ground. She's not looking. It's just, maybe it's mice, who knows. And maybe she like peeks from underneath the blanket a little bit and then sees just the silhouette of a little hand over the teddy bear, and just like it's being pulled out and it's dark. Just the moonlight is now hitting the room. And
are you pulling it? Are you pulling at Mr. Billy and pulling Mr. Billy away?
No, not the teddy bear, the little lamb. The little lamp.
Okay.
I'm going to make it a little darker, just a little bit more appropriate.
So she's laying on the soft comforter boat on a very hard, cold floor. She's got Mr. Billy very close. She's got the comforter pulled up to her chin, and the nightlight's not helping. So she thinks, I just need to go to sleep. Just need to go to sleep. She's closing her eyes, but then it's too dark. It's really late. She's not up this late normally. It's midnight so she opens her eyes, she sees the orange and yellowish tones of the nightlight up against the ceiling. And then she sees fingers, the shadows of fingers as it starts to cover the nightlight.
Yes.
Sounds like a 3d6 to me.
Oh,
Or do you have more?
I was not quite done. This was just a
Please.
setup. So I've pulled the light, which by itself, light goes out. That's not too scary. But then she hears rustling, and I imagine there's a few boxes already in her room. They have just brought boxes up, and I like to imagine that maybe she has like started to unpack a few of her toys. Nothing really planned, nothing really, just stuff on the ground. And you hear this skittering, and for a while, and she just closes her eyes, and maybe when she looks, she sees her tea set, her little tea set that she has, like tea with her plush animals and her teddy bear, and something, a shape she can't quite see. It's just like lit a little bit by the moonlight, just this tiny creature. There's a little bit of fur, and there's maybe like a gnarled arm, and she just sees, and just clink clink, there's just, and play with me.
Who are you?
I'm your friend.
I don't like you. I don't want to play.
Okay. And I just slither away to her bed, underneath her bed.
Okay. Now we'll do a 3d6 as you were slithering into bed with her.
Yes. Under the bed.
Ah!
All right, let's see. All right, 5.
All right, we got our 5. Give me my fear die. Sally with the least resistance has survived the most. She only gets a 2.
Yeah. She's tough.
She
tough.
is. She has a very vivid imagination. And I think, she's imagined having tea with her plushies and with Mr. Bill, with Mr. Brian. And I don't want to imagine, I don't want them at my tea parties. And she pulls herself out, and at the last minute she grabs Mr. Brian, and she clutches onto him, and she's got her pink Barbie little like night shirt, and she runs out of the room.
Fair.
Now you have a special ability.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you want to use it this phase or not, but you have the ability. Let me actually read it for everybody. Let me grab it real quick. Where's my monster?
I have it in front of me.
Oh, great. You want to read it off?
2 times a night, you can choose to scare 2 different family members in a single round.
Would you like to do that on the midnight phase or wait for the devil's hour?
I think I'd like to do it now with Janet. I would like to scare Janet now.
What happens when Sally runs out of the room?
Because she runs to her mother. She runs to her mother. Absolutely.
She's running down the hall to her mother. You're under the comforter, but you're creatures in the wall. You're a creature in the wall, so you can be wherever you need to be because literally the inside of this place. So where are you going to go? Where are we going to find Janet? Are you going to the bedroom?
Yes. At the end. Actually, the hallway leading to the bedroom. So Sally runs, of course, to her mother, trying to like immediately jump into bed. And Sally wakes up, or maybe she hasn't been able to sleep either. Janet hasn't been able to sleep either. And I'm going to say, Sally jumps into bed, and Janet just tries to comfort her. And then, the door's open because Sally didn't close the door coming in. And then there's a just barely lit, maybe Janet can't see, but it's a dead mouse laying in the frame, like just where the door opens, and something is attached to that mouse. It's like it's a bundle, it's like a string of hair, and it's just very slowly I pull away the mouse.
So I think before she recognizes that, we have Sally running into the room, and Sally knows not to wake Daddy. Daddy gets really, really mad if he gets woken up. So she knows she wants to scream and just leap into bed. But as soon as she realizes, she gets her wits about her a little bit, she quietly walks up to Mom. Janet's had a little side light on, and first she doesn't recognize Sally coming in, and Sally's halfway to the bed before she realizes Sally's in. She goes, "Oh, Sally," and she's reading a letter, and very, very almost guilty. She folds it up very quickly and she hides it back into her bedstand. By the time Sally gets there, and Sally says, Mommy, there's things in my room. I don't want to sleep in my room. Shh, honey, shh. It's okay, honey. And she kind of looks over at Thomas. He's now on his right side with his back to her. This means he is deep into sleep, and it's going to take a little bit to get him awake. So she feels pretty comfortable at this point, kind of pulling little Sally up, and she finds a place for Sally where they can kind of share the same space right next to each other. So walk me through. She's about to turn off the light, and that light is shining through that open bedroom door that was closed until Sally opened it, and she sees that shape.
Yes, there's this shape of a mouse, something small that she can see, and it's like wiggling a little bit. I'm like I'm pulling bait, like I'm trying to catch a fish. It's just.
Yeah, and she goes, "Oh, honey, look, sweetie, I told you, honey, this place is going to have mice. Look, sweetie, see it? Yep, honey, it's just a mouse. It's just a mouse. It's okay. It's absolutely okay." I don't think she's scared yet.
I was hoping to maybe pull her out of the room. Just maybe she would try to follow the mouse, just like at least look at it, because it doesn't go away. It's just it wiggles in front of the door, which mice don't tend to do.
Mommy, I don't like mice either. I don't want no more monsters, Mommy. Sweetie, there's no monsters. Look, let me show you. So she kind of tucks Sally into her bed where she was. Even though the drawer that she stuffed that letter in is closed, she pushes it just to make sure it's closed. And she grabs a little dustpan that she had swept up the room before bed, and she starts walking over, and she's in mama bear mode. She's not crazy about mice, but this is going to be a dead mouse. So she's slowly stalking your mouse, and she's going to slam it.
It's already a dead mouse, but yes, she goes after the mouse, and I don't know if we're on the first floor. I'm not like maybe
I think we're on the second floor.
All right, we're on the second floor. So as she comes to the door, she sees the mouse run away like she would expect. It's like zip, and I'm pulling it essentially down the stairs. So I'm trying to get the mother to just follow. It's just the mouse stays in almost like she can almost hit it, but not quite. So I keep pulling it down the stairs, and mother just follows at this point. It's like, I'm going to get this mouse. I'm not going to scare my little child. And I pull it underneath the door that leads to the basement.
So she steps out, and she looks back in the bedroom. She can see the mound that's her husband snoring. She sees Janet sitting up, watching her every move, and she kind of stiffens her back a little bit. She needs to be brave. And she starts going out of the sight. The mouse, she's starting to wonder whether this thing isn't moving right as it kind of tumbles down the steps. And the main steps to the second floor lead right to the door to the basement. And you adeptly slide this dead mouse under it. She stops at the bottom of the stair. She opens up the basement door, which she has not opened yet in this house. There's a chain hanging down. When she yanks the chain, does the light turn on?
I'm going to say, yeah, it turns on and it flickers. It's just, it's like, it's not quite coming on. It's not burning out, but it just keeps on flickering. So she can get down the stairs, but there's maybe another light down there that she could maybe turn on. Just
Yeah, she sees the reflection of that bulb, so that's her next lighthouse in this little journey of pure bravery. She's got this metal dustpan. She's going to kill this goddamn thing.
oh yeah.
She starts walking down the steps, and it creaks.
And she steps down, and she sees there's another light bulb hanging to light, the dugout basement. It's mostly dirt. And as she pulls the light, what she sees is a perfectly arranged circle of dead mice surrounding a knife with dried blood on it. And she hears like, a present.
Okay, now we need the roll.
Sorry, that took a bit.
Oh, it's good. This is your special power. We got to make it special.
All right.
Oh, I needed you not to roll a 6 so I could use her special power, but you did roll a 6.
Okay.
So I'm going to save it. Oh, and a 5. Oh my God. Okay. Oh, poor Janet. 1,
Oh, it was
2,
worth it.
3, 4, 5. Hasn't she been through enough, creature?
I'm trying to help. I'm trying to be helpful.
She sees this and she throws the metal dustpan down and it scatters your little shrine that you have built. It digs into the dirt and these dead mice kind of fall over and it hits against the knife, and she runs upstairs. She slams the door, and she slams the door to the basement so loudly that she hears Thomas go, Janet, Janet, where are you? Where am I going to find my haunted doll? It's midnight. So even though Thomas is yelling at her, the last thing she wants to do is go upstairs and deal with him too. Oh, I'm sorry. That is right. Allie, I'm sorry. You were muted. I had muted you for a second because of some typing, and I forgot to unmute you. So let's do that again. That's my fault. I'm so sorry. Thank you, chat, for telling me this. So the question I posed to you, we're going to replay this. The question I posed to you is, where's my haunted down? You decided that you want to, we're not done with Janet. It doesn't, you don't think the creature should have all the fun?
Exactly. Doll wants to have some fun with Janet too.
And so she's at the bottom of the step and she hears Thomas calling. Sally's fine. Thomas is there. I don't feel like going up there and dealing with him. She looks over across the hall and sees that luckily Thomas hasn't woken Billy. He's still curled up on the couch. Her heart's racing, so she needs a glass of water. So I'm thinking she's going to head towards the kitchen. What do you think?
I think that's a good idea.
Okay. So she heads towards the kitchen, and
I think she's probably gonna go to one of the boxes because they haven't unpacked the kitchen yet to go find a glass so that she can put some water into, and the doll is in the box.
So she reaches in for the glass, and she finds the glass. But as she pulls it out, it's heavy. So she kind of looks up and she sees that your little arm is stuck in the glass and she's lifting you at the same time. So she pulls it away and she looks at it and she goes, what? I mean, I don't remember buying that for Sally. And you're just laying there in the box as she's staring it down at you.
And then the head of the doll is going to turn to look at her.
So I don't care what you freaking roll. We hear the breaking of glass as that drops out of her hand. And is this our first time scaring Janet?
This is our first time scaring Janet.
Your power is pretty damn good. That's 46.
I know. Okay. There we go.
I can't use Janet's powers if you keep rolling 6s. Actually, wait, no. Oh no, it's on the fear roll. I can't have you roll a 6. Okay. So give me
Mm,
my fear roll.
okay.
Okay. So I am going to invoke absolute denial. This is Janet's power. If you keep things together well enough, no one will ever know. Once per game, the mother can ignore one instance of fear entirely. This ability cannot be used if the creature who caused the fear rolled more than 1 6. Oh, it's more than 1 6. So I'm in good shape. So yeah, she's had enough. Thomas can't be trusted. She didn't want to move here. I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what's in the basement. I don't know what's scaring my daughter. And she like gets dead in the eyes and she takes the box and she folds it on itself. And she picks it up and she throws open that pantry door, hoping to see whatever was in there before, and it's not. And she stuffs you in the box into the pantry door and she closes it. And she has decided, I don't know what the fuck is going on here, but I am not going to deal with any of this. So unfortunately, I'm going to negate your fear. I'm going to use her power, but that's the only time poor Janet's going to show that much bravery.
That would have
Demon.
gotten her too.
Oh, it would have. Oh,
Mhm.
you would have too. She did it just in time. Okay, Demon.
Yes.
Where are we? What are we doing?
Tell me, Craig, because you mentioned that Thomas's father, that Thomas is kind of scared of his father or scared that he's becoming like his father, right?
I think so. I think you sense that
Yeah.
demon. I think you sense a lot about people, more than maybe even they're aware of, right? So that fear that you sensed from him, you could tell it was multi-layered, and part of it was a fear that he could hear his father's voice coming out of his throat, and this doesn't justify what he's become, but he hates it and he's scared of that part of him. So no question.
And is the father dead by any chance?
I don't know, demon. What do you think the father's dead?
I think he's dead. So
Yeah.
I'm going after Thomas.
Okay.
I don't like that guy.
So I have Thomas in bed with Sally. Do we want to put Thomas somewhere else? Because we can. There's all kinds of justifications to get Thomas out of this room, or we can get Sally out of this room. So kind of, where do you want to set the scene?
I think I want him in bed. Actually, oh, he called Janet, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So he's awake, but he can be in bed still.
Okay. Good. He's in bed, and he turns to Sally and he goes, "You're supposed to be a big girl, and big girls don't sleep in mom and dad's bed anymore, young lady. We've got a room for you. Part of the reason we moved here is so you could get your own room. March your little butt back over to bed. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go find your mother." But he doesn't get out of bed. She slides out, doesn't argue with Daddy, and she sleeks away into the hallway. He's not real sure whether he's going to get out of bed or not, Demon. I think he kind of shifts, and I think he's just like, you know what? I need a good night's sleep. So you see him, Demon, kind of shift himself and lay back down.
I think he's gonna get out of the bed after that, because I'm again in the corner of the room, hidden in the shadows, and as I get up from all fours, uh, it's almost like unpleasant view because each joint in my body is kind of cracking and getting into place to kind of mimic a human being, right? And as I step out from the shadows, it looks like I'm pulling off some kind of a mask, and it's Thomas's father that steps out of the shadows. in the suit that he was buried in. And I kind of want to slap Thomas in the face and say, "You are a weak man, Thomas Thorne."
And as you approach him, he has a look of denial on his face, and almost a childlike voice comes out of it, and he goes, "Dad, Dad, Dad," and it gets deeper again. What? No, this isn't. And you slap him, and he hears words that he has heard, etched, burned inside of him, that has driven him. Definitely need a scare there. I want to take a
Okay.
quick peek though. I'm trying to remember the demons. Okay, we've used yours, right? Because we used
Yes,
yours when we
yes.
took over Janet. Okay.
Yeah. So just 3d6, right?
Yep. /R
File.
space 3d6 KH.
And that's a 4.
4. So give me my fear. A 3, and you've done it.
God damn it.
So you slap him, and he goes. And you see the look of fear on his face for a second. And he goes, "Fuck you, Dad." And he is standing up, and he's going to push you. But you tell me what happens in reality as he gets out of bed.
I think that as he's standing up, he's kind of looking at the bed that he needs to push himself up. And as he stands up, I'm not there anymore. But you can see me smiling with like sharp, almost shark-like teeth in the shadows.
So I'm going to give you a major setback for that 4. And I need to root for my family a little bit. So this is going to be kind of a harsh one. So Demon, and I want to understand why, but you're rattled by your failure. During the next phase, you cannot attempt to scare anyone, but you can still aid another player. So when we get to the Devil's Hour, you can't do a scare, but you can insert yourself and collaborate with one of your other monsters to give them an extra die. So I'll let you decide with another monster what that'll be in the next phase. But I want to know why.
I think that in my like devilish mind, it's almost impossible that he stood up to me, that he said like "fuck you," that was almost impossible in the past for me. So yeah,
maybe his demons are match yours a little bit. Spectre, a lot is happening in this house. Where are you? You've got we can, and keep one thing to keep in mind, guys, when we're setting these scenes, you can have this happen right after. We can have 20-30 minutes pass, so don't feel obligated to pick up right where we left off from the last monster. So Spectre, where are we going to pick up with you?
So I wanted to pick up right as Janet slammed the door, as she was looking for me, and when she turns around, she sees me, and there's like a cut screen of me as an actual human coming to this farmhouse, meeting a girl. I get there, I get drugged, and I am sacrificed. She down in the basement, I'm chained up, and she's like cutting my heart out while I still live.
Oh, okay. Beautiful. I love that cutscene, and that gives us a little bit of sense of maybe this is in fact, our gruesome murder,
Yes.
which we decided was what was wrong with this house. When we cut back though into the action, are we going to focus on Janet, or do you want to focus elsewhere?
I wanted to focus on Janet.
Okay, so let's stay with Janet. Give me just a second. So we're going to stay with Janet. Janet has now boxed up and stuffed the haunted doll into the pantry. The pantry where you first made your presence known to her. She has slammed the door. What's next?
She slams the door and she's whips around and do what she's about to do. She just comes face to face with me. It's like boom, right there. And she looks into my eyes and there's nothing there. And you just see me start to grow. My presence grows and envelops the room. It's like she has to look up at me. and she's just like quivering in fear. And I just look down at her and say, "Whore,"
Oh God.
and I reach into her chest to try to pull her heart out.
Okay. 3d6/R, please.
Okay, so that's a 4.
That's right, because you owed me a -1, so you're at a 4, but you still get a fear die.
Okay.
Janet's only got 3 left. As she sees you grow, as she hears you call her something that even Thomas has never called her. But the man she was with before she met Thomas did. It's part of the reason she ended up in Thomas's arms. It's part of the reason she ignored the red flags that Thomas threw up as they were courting and before they got married. She knows that this isn't, she knows that she's here and knew she could end up here and ignored things. She falls back. Her back slides against the pantry door. And she ends up sitting. And she's just looking up to you. Inspector, you can tell that any ounce of resistance, any ounce of power, anything that you could take from her is gone. What you need is to get rid of them. Even though she's physically sitting on the floor of this kitchen, you know she's gone.
Okay.
Did I get? I think I got everybody for midnight, right? Everybody got to go this turn, right? Okay,
Yes.
good. Let's go to the Devil's Hour. I don't want to montage the next 2 hours that take us to the Devil's Hour. I need your help. So I'm going to assign each of you one of our family. Demon, where at 3 a.m. is Thomas, do you think?
I think he's going through the hallway searching for Janet.
Okay. Haunted Dow, where do we want Billy?
I think Billy has woken up from some sounds around the house. And I think he is still on the couch. And he's wrapped himself in the sheet and is just in the furthest corner of the couch.
And then Creature Inspector, help me place Sally.
I would think that she's probably ran and hide by now because her mother never came back. Her dad is left. So she's hidden somewhere in the house where, she will feel the most safe. Even though it's a new house, wherever she would feel the most safe in this house right now.
And we know because of her special power that it's going to be hard to find her, but I think we want to tell everybody where she is. So Z, we know Spectre says that she's hiding. Can you tell me where she found what she thinks is a safe place?
Definitely in a wardrobe. Definitely hiding in a wardrobe.
Yeah, Billy's, and this is Billy's room. Billy's claimed this room, but he's not sleeping in this room, and he has the largest of the non-master closets. So yeah, or no, in the wardrobe. Got it. You want him in an actual
Yeah.
wardrobe. So she's hidden herself in a wardrobe in Billy's room. All right, so we're going to start the Devil's Hour. I'm going to start with my Haunted Doll. Haunted Doll, when we last left you, you were in a box in the pantry, but where are you now?
Well, I've got to go keep my friend Sally company. I'm in the wardrobe with her.
She's been in there, I think, for about an hour or so now. And you sense Her heart rate has dropped. You can sense that she is starting to doze off. It doesn't mean she's not scared anymore. It's just she's a little girl. She needs her sleep. So she's kind of tucked into the corner of this wardrobe. Is the wardrobe empty, or did somebody already put clothes in it, or maybe they moved it with some clothes, or is it empty, do you think?
I think there's a few hangers with some clothes. Maybe they're covered in a garbage bag to try and keep them safe during the move.
So she's dozing off, Haunted. What happens?
Well, I want her to be able to sleep, so I'll just whisper to her that it's okay to go to sleep. I'll keep an eye on you.
Are you my friend?
Of course I'm your friend, Sally.
You look broken.
It's not very nice to say.
I don't think I like you either.
But we can be such great friends.
I don't like the toys here.
Oh, but we like you so much. You and Mr. Brian. We can all be friends. We could have a tea party.
Give me one more thing to scare her with. You're almost there.
I think that the wardrobe doors are not completely shut, and there may be a little moonlight coming from the window that's into the wardrobe, and Sally can start to see what looks like a shadow projecting off of the doll onto the sides of the wardrobe, but it's much, much too big.
Okay. Now, is this our first time scaring Sally? I can't remember.
This is, yes.
Oh my God,
I'm keeping
all right.
track.
Good. She's marking them off on her paper.
I am. Little check mark.
Little 46. Ooh, 666. Hold on. 666.
Wow.
666 is you are terror incarnate. Your target loses all will to remain and is removed from the game.
Wow.
Holy cow.
I narrated Janet losing resistance. We were going to leave Janet as essentially in a mental vegetable state on the floor of the kitchen. We've now thoroughly removed any will, any rationale, and everything from Sally, but I need some help, Haunted Doll. As you realize what you have done, what do you sense? What do you see?
Well, I got what I wanted. And that was for Sally to be my friend, because she's not going anywhere now. She's all mine. I have a sense of pride.
I feel like as she physically gives up, she ends up falling and leaning into you. And I just want to leave with just the scene of you holding her as she finally loses all resistance. Yay. All right. Creature in the walls. We have got Billy and Thomas left.
That's a good question. Have we established where Thomas is right now? I think we did, right?
I think kind of wandering the hallways upstairs, right? Janet didn't come back upstairs. He just had this incredible experience of meeting his father again. He must have been half asleep. But he also doesn't really want to be alone right now. So we could have him checking on Sally because he told her to go to bed. Or we can have him finding Janet. We can have literally, I think, have him anywhere in the house if he's looking for Janet.
I want to know what's in that letter so bad, but you put that out there. You knew what we were gonna do. Yeah, no, I think he's going to go into the bedroom and he's going to actually open the dresser of on his wife's side, and he's going to open it up.
So he comes back in. Janet's not. He saw, maybe I've looked around I've checked all the rooms. Sally's not there. Maybe they're back in my bedroom again. He goes back into his bedroom, and it might be the sheer will and influence of the four of you. Just for whatever reason, that bottom drawer is calling to him on the bedstand next to his wife's side of the bed. He doesn't know why, in the midst of all of this, he's drawn there, but he walks there. You see him turn on the light, and he opens the drawer, and he sees a letter very hastily folded, folded and crumpled almost all at the same time, and it's stuffed in the envelope, not in a way that the envelope could be closed. The hell is that? He grabs the envelope and turns it over, and imprinted is the return address, but it's not filled out. The rest of the envelope was not filled out. This is a pre-printed envelope. It's the address in the city for his law firm. And it says, Thorne and Sampson, attorneys at law. And he pulls this crumpled letter out and it opens it up. He's like, these are from the office. He doesn't even keep these at the house. And it's a handwritten letter. And we see that stiff upper lip that he's kept go away as he reads a letter from his partner, John Sampson, saying things that he used to say to his wife when he was courting her. Where are you, creature?
As he's reading the letter, I like to imagine he has turned on like the night side light, and he's reading the letter, and I'm above him right now. I'm on the ceiling. I'm with my, I'm a little sticky. Let's just say that. I'm above him, and I look down, and he doesn't know that I'm there right now. I just, watch, and while I can't read what's on the letter, I can tell he's distressed.
You can sense it.
Yes, and drip, 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 like drops from like bad smelling ooze from me drip down and like hit the letter and just make the ink flow. Is it like a leak or something? But
yeah, and he's looking at this letter and reading it once and again and pushing through this denial. We see like the letter get taut as he's almost pulling it apart by the tension in his hands as he's squeezing this letter and getting angrier and angrier. And it's an anger towards Janet. It's an anger towards his partner in business. And the first drop hits and starts to bleed the ink of these lovely, flowery, honey-soaked words another man has been writing to his wife. And he wipes his eye thinking it's from him, that it's a drop, but he's not crying. His eyes are dry. But the next discolored drop hits. And then another one. And it pulls him away. It breaks the spell of this letter for a second. And he looks up.
And I look right back at him with about 7 eyes, all of them different, from different creatures. There's maybe 2, maybe 3 human eyes in there.
Oh, God.
And several other creatures' eyes. And My face is just this amalgam of fur and skin and like crudely patched together, layered on top. It doesn't even quite count as a face anymore, but he just sees me, and I don't think I'm even going to make a noise. I'm just like, I have my mouth open, and you can see just this dropping down like in strings onto him, and he's just paralyzed because he doesn't know what he's seeing, so it just hits him.
Oh, beautiful. All right.
Can I help, by the way?
Oh,
Because
please do.
Oh, yes. Demon can help. So, Demon,
Yes.
where are you as this is unfolding? As you see Thomas where you left him last, and you're seeing the creature up above. Where are you, and what are you doing?
I think I'm behind him, sitting on the bed, and he can feel my hand coming onto his shoulder, and it's a firm grip, like his father used to grip him when he was misbehaving. And he can hear, "You're a weak man."
Okay, beautiful. 46 with the 1d6 from Demon.
All right. Keep the highest. Let's do it.
There's our 6. All we need
Can
is
the father do something at this point, or
the father's power is to heal others. The father is
Oh,
Thomas is too late, I
no.
think.
Oh, no.
So if you roll a 1, he has a chance to heal Billy, which is exactly what's. Oh,
Gotta appreciate the dice sometimes.
oh, so he feels the squeeze. Again, hears his father's voice. Looks up, and everything breaks. The illusion that this is going to save anything. He's not going to save his marriage. The guy he went to law school with is sleeping with his wife. This place has things everywhere. It has ghosts of his father. It's got just everything. The only thing he's going to do is he's going to drop this letter. He comes out onto the hallway of the second floor and it looks over down to the first floor. And he's shaking, but he comes down, and the first person he sees is Billy. And Billy has a look of fear as he's holding the sheet close to him. And he's watching his father walk towards him. Billy hates this look on his father's face. It's not like other times, though. He can tell that his father's not mad at him necessarily. And his dad grabs Billy, pulls the sheet off, and he goes, "Son, nothing's going to happen to you. We're going to find your sister. We're going to find your mother. We're getting in the car, and we're getting the hell out of here." So I do get a chance to use Thomas's special move, which is rational thought. Once per game, the father can use his unshakable belief in rational explanations to help another family member. Roll 1d6 and add the resulting number to the resistance track of another family member. Let's see how much confidence he can build in Billy, telling Billy, enough's enough. We're getting the hell out of here.
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are the words that Billy needed to hear. And I think there's nobody that could have said it to him and put steel in his spine like his father saying it to him. Billy sits up and he looks straight in his father's eyes, and he goes, and there's almost an adult sound in his voice, a tonality. He says, "I'll find Sally. You find Mom. I'll meet you in the car." And we see Thomas taking orders from his son and not blinking. And Thomas is going to head towards the kitchen, hoping to find Sally. I think Billy's going to run upstairs. Spectre, we have not gone yet, have we? Or did we go?
I went this turn. I
Okay.
took out Janet.
That's right. That's right. So we are moving to phase 5. As this is all unfolding, as downstairs we have Thomas looking for Janet. Upstairs we have Billy looking for Sally. Outside, we see just the beginnings of the sun starting to rise. This is the 5th phase. This is dawn. All 4 of you know you're running out of time. We've all done this before. This is not the first family that you've evicted. You don't know why, but you know that if you don't suck everything out of this family, by the time that sun rises, it's going to be you that leaves, not them. I think I want Demon to go first, because Demon really didn't get to do a full turn last time.
Oh, I'm going after Thomas.
Okay. So set the scene for me, Demon. Where do we want to find Thomas?
He's looking for Janet in the kitchen, right?
Mm-hmm. And you can have him find her, or we can have her somewhere else. Where do you want?
I think she's there. And he's already freaked out, right? Because all the weird things. Yeah.
He's got one left.
Yeah. And now he finds his wife in a vegetative state, right?
Yeah. Honey. He's shaking her. She's heavy, and he's trying to get her attention. Her eyes are closed and she's not asleep, and her head's just saying no. Her head's saying no, but she's not vocalizing anything.
So I'm thinking about going to my last resort, which is showing myself fully to him. And I think as he's talking to Janet, he can see the straws of hay falling from the ceiling. And
yeah, I'm going to pause for just a second, because I think he feels you in the room. He doesn't see you. We're not there yet. We haven't scared him yet. But as that hay starts to fall from the ceiling, enough has happened at this point. He's gotten very clear directives from his son, and he grabs Janet and he's lifting her up, and he says, "Honey, we're going back to the city. This is all my fault. I'm sorry. I did all of this." As the hay is falling,
I will start slowly crawling from the ceiling towards him, onto the wall and onto the floor. And as I step out into the moonlight, he can see me walking again on all fours. With my legs are too long, my arms are slightly too long. I'm wearing overalls, like a scarecrow would do, and there's a bull rucksack over my head, stapled around the hole of the eyes for the eyes, and around the mouth. And I smile at him with my sharp teeth, and I look at him with my bloodshot eyes. There are also horns sticking out from the sack. And I think I'm gonna say in his father's voice, "Hello, Thomas," and I will rush towards him.
okay, let's do it.
Let me just roll. Oh, that's a 6.
This is just theatrics at this point, but let's roll that fear die. Just
enough.
So, Demon, you rush towards him. I want you to close out Thomas for me. What happens?
I want him dead, definitely.
So, what happens?
But I don't want to get my hands dirty, especially with him. So I'm thinking about heart attack.
He's holding her. He's strained enough as it is. She weighs twice as much as she's ever weighed. There's just a weight of capitulation in her body. And you rush towards him, and he's not going to let her go. As he starts to pull away, the last demon of his father takes, and that's his heart disease. And we just see him let go. We see Janet, alive but lifeless, fall to the ground, bashing her head into the floor of the kitchen. And normally, if somebody has a heart attack and they fall, they'll try to catch themselves as they slowly have life slipping away. But Thomas doesn't, because he dies before he hits the ground. Spectre, Billy's upstairs. He's not having any luck finding Sally. He wouldn't even dream of looking in the wardrobe. So where are we going to find Billy? You're muted.
We'll have Billy running down the hallway, going towards his room. But as he starts to get close to his room, you see the Spectre step out in his human form.
Ooh.
And you see him with a baseball bat, and it's bloodied. And we do a little cut scene, and we see that he's actually like a serial killer. So the night that he was ritually sacrificed, he ran to that barnyard and that farmhouse because he had just killed someone. And he was trying to get back because his car died. And he was trying to get back to the city so he wouldn't be thought of as a person that was the actual serial killer. That's why he gets drugged, gets ritually sacrificed. He's basically just the wrong place, wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but the right person.
But the right person, yes. And he looks at Billy and he says, "Kid, you don't want to do this anymore." And Billy looks at him like, "Where's my sister?" He goes, "Oh, she's gone. She is gone the way of the dodo. If you don't get out of here, you're next." And he's just like smacking the bat with his hand. Or sorry, smacking his hand with the bat. And just like, "Your move, hombre."
Let's do it.
All right.
So we got a 4. Give me a fear die. We need a big one here, Spectre. 4 is good.
4, okay.
1, 2, 3, 4. He believes you, Spectre. And in his head, she can't be up here, even though he's really not that sure. But in his head, he's sure.
Mm-hmm.
And he turns and he's running down the steps. Hunted, we left you in the wardrobe with Sally, but Sally's not fun to play with anymore.
No, not as much. I think I got what I needed out of Sally, but I can still play with Billy. I had fun playing with him before. I think I'll give him a beat after getting spooked by the
Yeah. Tell me where you're going to find Billy.
I think Billy's gonna find me. He is after hearing that Sally is gone, he is gonna go looking for her again, and I think he's gonna head into her bedroom, the bedroom that was supposed to be hers. And I'm sitting there with all of her other toys that she had brought out and unpacked already. But I'm looking right at him.
And he's not recognizing you at first, I don't think, Haunted. He's looking around and he sees all the toys, and he just mentally buckets you with toys, right? Not recognizing the fact that you are and I think the only, all right, I've checked every room up here. This is the only room left. I'm going to check it one more time. She's got to be in the closet. And you see him going to the closet, ignoring you.
If the camera is looking over Billy's shoulder right now, the dark shadow is projecting against the wall and growing until it's basically taking up a whole side of the room. I don't like to be ignored.
He's reaching for the doorknob to the closet when he sees the shadow of this darkness that comes out of you come and reflect and come across the wall in front of him. And he stops and he turns to you, turns to the voice. He sees this darkness that has emitted from you, that has now just painted itself in Sally's room. What does he see when he looks at the doll?
I think what he's not as much what he's seeing, but what he knows in his heart is that his family left him all alone and abandoned him. And they didn't really care for him, did they? And now he's trying to be strong. He's trying to get out of here. But I don't think he's strong enough. I don't know if he's too much fun to play with anymore.
Let's do it.
This is not with 4d6 this time.
No, it is not. You have to do it just like a normal monster.
Darn.
Double six. I forget what double six is. I think we double your die. We double your fear die.
We need at least a 2.
All the 6s.
This is your narration to finish us out. How does Billy break, and what do we watch happen?
I think the dark shadow almost envelops him, as the dark thoughts inside him are also enveloping his mind. And I think he falls to the ground in a realization that it's right. The voice is right. His family did abandon him, and he's not strong enough to handle this. He's not strong at all. And he just resigns himself to the fact that he's nothing but a plaything for a bunch of monsters.
So guys, we're going to cut to credits. On the other side of credits, we're going to do an epilogue. I'm going to ask each of our monsters for an epilogue, and I'll explain what that epilogue will entail. And then I need to talk to my players about this first time playing this game, because it's my first time too. So we'll be back after credits. So if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know that that we have a patron Discord, and my patrons, God bless them, they put up with me getting just so hyped about games. and I have been getting excited and excited as this came up. When we finally settled on having these 4 here, I was even more excited. Allie's first time on the channel. Allie is also going to be in our Outgunned here next month. So this is not the last time we've seen Allie. um for Mr. Nacho, for you, I mean, you have been such an integral part of the community, and to finally get a chance to play with you has been fantastic. Z and I have built a very quick friendship in a very short amount of time, and then LaShawn is the only person who's met me in person among this group. He's been he came to Camping for Gamers just last spring, and I'm hoping to sneak him away so that he can go camping with us again. So as soon as I knew it was going to be the 5 of us, I just, my excitement raised, and what happens is my like standards raise, like the bar keeps getting higher and higher and higher. We high jumped way over it. Before we get into talking about things as players, though, I want to do one last thing in game. And what I would love is an epilogue. And what I would like is for each of you to give me an epilogue, and it could be 10 minutes from where we left off, or it could be 10 years, or any time in between, or 30 years from now. It can be an epilogue about you and where you are. It can be an epilogue about one of our family members. But I want to know the aftermath of this. So who wants to start? You want to start, LaShawn?
Yes. Before I forget,
let's start with when. When is this epilogue?
this epilogue is probably 6-7 months from now.
Okay.
You see a happy family. Mom's a brunette, dad's a tall, muscular blonde. You have a teenage daughter and a little brother. They're actually happy to be moving into this farmhouse. Like, you see them carrying everything in. You see them just ecstatic about this. You see the little boy's like, "Oh my God, it's a barn!" You see the daughter roll her eyes. She's on her phone, like, "Yeah, whatever." And they're just like, the mom and dad are just sitting there like, "This is gonna do so much for us. This is going to change our lives." And you see the camera pan out like really far away, and you see the specter in its human form leaning against a tree. He just looks, shakes his head, and says, "Not my monkey, not my circus." You see him turn around, and he starts to walk away and fade away. And it then shows a scene in the attic, and the little window there, you see Janet, and you just see her. You just see the anger on her face, and it goes to black.
Oh! All right, way to set the bar, LaShawn.
Tough act to follow.
We have a new haunt. All right, who's brave enough to go next? Who has my next epilogue?
I can go next because I can just add to that. Because as we see that family moving in, we can see one of the kids going to the barn and seeing the same things that our poor Billy have seen, like the bloody shovel, all of the rot, all of the stuff that happened there. And as the kid turned around, there's a scarecrow standing in the door of the barn.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It starts again. Allie and Z, who wants to go next?
I think that you're going to hear the family that was described moving in, the next family moving in. It's just the kids are like running through the hallways, just like yelling at each other, just like, "Oh, you're such an idiot," and just being like a happy family. And the camera pans maybe through. Actually, you see the kids, and it pans through the floor, and you see Mr. Brian, like his little feet. But it's not just Mr. Brian. It's just this amalgam of Mr. Brian and flesh and hair, and it's just like some giggling.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. All right. So Allie first, when is our epilogue?
For the doll, this is actually probably 2 or 3 years after the events that happened in the old farmhouse. And we're not at the farmhouse. We're actually at a yard sale.
Oh.
The doll had been collected along with the other belongings of the farmhouse from our Thorn family.
Yes.
And most of the items donated, including our lovely little doll that decided to hitchhike and go find a new adventure. She did her job pretty well at the farmhouse. And you see this bin of toys in this yard sale, and there's a little girl that runs up and is digging through the toys and pulls out a bunny and pulls out an action figure, and you see the arm of the haunted doll. It's just dangling, looking up at the little girl. And you hear the little girl go, "Mommy, Mommy, I want this one."
It's really good, guys. It's really, really good. All right. So it's a tradition here on the channel for us to do stars and wishes. Now, stars is where we take a moment as players and talk about things that really stood out. So it can be a star moment that you were a part of, or you witnessed other or part of. It can be a star to a particular player, a moment. It doesn't matter, but something that really is going to stick with you, so that if a year from now someone goes, "Hey, have you ever played Something Is Wrong with This House?" You're going to go, "Yes," and then this is what you'll tell them about from this session. And then normally after that we do wishes, which is where the players get a chance to tell me what they're wishing for next, for the next session. But this is a one-shot, kiddos. There is no next session. So what I think I would like instead of wishes is thoughts, because I'm going to be running this again. In a couple weeks, we're going to be running the ghost hunt variant of this, where instead of a family, I'll be playing ghost hunters, a cameraman, a sound man, a producer, and a psychic. And they are going to be hunting ghosts for a reality TV show, and they're going to find the real thing somewhere. So I would love your thoughts on maybe things for me to think about the next time I run it. I'm going to go to somebody who I know runs a lot of games. So if it's okay, I'd like to start with you, Z. So if you can start off with stars, and then just give me your thoughts about things for me to think about for next time that I play this.
Absolutely. I am going to go to the classic and say the whole table was just one big glowing star, or should I say blood moon, one of those things. But if I had to pick a moment that I would tell friends about this game, it's like, what did you like, or what was your experience? It would have to be Mr. Nachos and the Demon being Thomas's father, like appearing as Thomas's father, and it's just, it tied in so beautiful with, you know, how you set up Thomas with these anger issues and just these essentially really just demons from his past haunting Thomas. And that was just, I think that was beautiful. And it was also like, I loved how you helped end him essentially.
Could not agree more. So thoughts, Z, things for me to think about next time I run this.
I think you did a super great job. I think what really worked well, and almost like, I wouldn't say pulled the table together, but like you could see it in chat. Everyone was like, Thomas gotta go. If Thomas doesn't get out of there, my favorite sentence probably, if Thomas doesn't get out of there, I will get him. Just the chat. And I think that's a beautiful thing to do, to give the ghosts something to like latch onto and just like, yeah, no, we're gonna get this one.
Yeah, I was thinking a lot about it, and I'm glad it worked, because I wanted them to be people, people that are people, right? That we love, that disappoint. You know, Thomas is the villain, but we saw, you know, the tragedy of Thomas too along that. So I'm glad that clicks for us, and I think it makes it more than just rolling dice and ticking clocks at that point. So all right, yeah, I will definitely lean into that when I play my ghost hunters next time. That's helpful. Allie, welcome to the channel. Thanks for coming. And I can't wait to play with you again. Let's start off with stars. So what really stood out for you?
Yeah, first, thank you for having me. This is freaking awesome. But I would say start Z, your descriptions of all of the terrifying things. Oh my goodness. I'm sitting here like wriggling in my chair, like, oh, this is so gross. But it's so awesome. I really, really loved hearing that.
Yeah, like I smelled the creature in the walls.
Yes, yes. I think I all senses engaged on the creature in the walls.
Perfect.
Yep, definitely. So thoughts next time I run this? Is there anything you think I should lean into more? Things that maybe I should give more attention to?
I mean, I definitely agree with, giving the humanity to the family was awesome. I think now that, we've gone through this and played it, I think that this will maybe give you a better idea of gauging the family's hit points kind of too.
Yeah.
Because I think when we were first talking about this, we were like, okay, they've got 55 points among all of them. Ooh, this might be actually hard.
Yeah.
And well, we forgot that we could double points, that we could take somebody out in one go if the dice are with us. So don't be afraid to make it challenging.
I agree. And I think I need to be less resistant to using the special powers. I think I should just start using them right from the beginning. I kind of want to, it's like, oh, I'm going to save it for a dramatic ending. And then like, oh, no, he's out now too.
So you were treating them like soul stones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, the die though, the die, just like that he just had 1 health left.
Yes.
It was like the dice really helped us. I mean, the double sixes, the triple six with Sally in the wardrobe was just beautiful. It just, and it's so funny about it because this happens a lot in games, in these games, and part of it is a bias because we quickly forget the unremarkable roles, and the remarkable roles really stand out, so which gives them a recency bias that makes it seem like it happens all the time. But it's part of the reason that we have dice right in these games, is to create these dramatic moments. And then it's amazing to me how we as human beings can stitch that and turn it into a narrative and tie it together. And it's not just our reaction to the dice, but our reactions to each other. An example is me pulling the idea of demons from Ashe, and then leaning on it, right, and pulling it into it's why I love this hobby. All right, LaShawn, stars and thoughts. Let's start with stars. What really stands out for you?
The stars for me were the humanity the parents had, the good and the bad. That really, I think, really brought the story together. There's only so much personality you can give children in horror unless they are the focal point.
Right.
But I think the parents themselves, their humanity bled into the children, which I think was a great storytelling characteristic.
And for the next time I run this, what should I do more of, less of, or what should I lean into?
Here's a suggestion I have.
Please.
I would say it may be unwieldy, but you have 4 monsters and have 4 people be the family, and just create characters for the family. They collectively just create a family dynamic, a family story, and you have them in the house, and they get the opportunity to like hide where we may not be able to find them, or we have to look for them in order to actually get to them, and things like that. I think that I don't know how unwieldy that would be with 8 people doing it, but I think that's something that I would love to try, maybe at camping.
Yeah, well, or you could just add 2 more players, right, and then pair them up, right?
Right.
Have a person plays. I've thought about it a little bit. I think it makes it a very different game, and that's not a bad thing. But I think it's more than just an adjustment to this game. I think that is something that makes this a new game, and I think it's something definitely to explore. I completely agree. Completely agree on that. All right. Last but not least, my friend. Thoughts, stars, and wishes.
Okay. I think that definitely my star goes to Ali for the whole scene with Sally rolling 3 sixes. Perfect. The role play there, the tension, everything. That it was so creepy in such a good way that it's my star. And my thoughts. Of course, I agree with everything that was said about like family being like a proper fleshed out characters and having their own lives, their own problems. because that's what works for me in horrors as well. But I would say that I really appreciate that the fear resistance, it's called, was not just like hit points that were reduced. We could see like the family freaking out.
Degrade.
Yeah, as their fear resistance was going down. So yeah, so I would lean on that as well, because it was amazing.
It umps the tension. I completely agree, and I think I could do even more with that. And I think what I want to do too, because I really love the moments where I gave you the family, and I think I want to do that more and let you guys narrate the reaction and rationalize a 6 fear roll, and help me through that. Mashi, Ali, Z, LaShawn, I can't wait to play with you guys again. For those of you watching, thank you so much. Like, subscribe, do the whole thing. But we'll be good call, Z. LaShawn's flashbacks were awesome as well. You want to talk about something that wasn't in the rules that gave us incredible context for the Spectre? Loved it. Loved it.
Thank you.
All right. Talk soon. Cheers. Howdy, friends. Thank you for watching. All our content is archived and organized in playlists on the Third Floor Wars YouTube channel. Check it out. And if you could like, follow, subscribe, and even set your notifications to this channel on YouTube and Twitch, we'd appreciate it, and it'll make sure that you catch all of our content. I talk with creators, designers, and experts across the gaming landscape in every episode of our podcast, Tabletop Talk. Open up your favorite podcatcher and search for Tabletop Talk from Third Floor Wars. Support your creators. They make the content you love, and it's your support that makes it happen. If you want to help us, go to Third Floor Wars on patreon.com, and you can help us for as little as $1 a month. Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Take care.